Hey everybody, happy Easter weekend and welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be making burnt ends. It's something that I've always wanted to try out and I figure why not? You know, it's an Easter weekend. It's not your traditional ham or anything, but I mean, who doesn't love smoked meat? So we'll give it a shot. And since I got a new camera and I kind of like making videos, I figured why not bring you all along for the ride. So join me as we create some burnt ends today.
Let's go ahead and get the grill started here. For this, I prefer to use a chimney over a lighting fluid, just because I don't want there to be any flavors imparted in my meat. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and use some paper grocery bags as my ignition source and fill the chimney all the way to the top with charcoal and give it a light.
So while we wait for the grill to warm up, we can go ahead and start getting our meat ready here. Picked up a couple of chuck eye roasts. Seems like that should be pretty good to make some burnt ends out of. Go ahead and get these out of the wrapping here. Give them a little pat down with some paper towel. That ought to be good. And for seasonings today, we're going to keep it pretty simple. I'm going to go with a little kosher salt. If I can get it to pour out of here. Get that nice and rubbed in there. Flip them over and give them the same treatment on the other side. Next up, we'll go with a little black pepper here. Get that nice and rubbed in. Flip them over. Give it the same treatment here on the other side. Next up, a little bit of onion powder. And then finally we'll finish up with a little garlic powder here. And just for good measure, I'm going to go ahead and just roll the ends of it here. That way we get that seasoning all the way around. And there we go.
After about 15 minutes, my coals are hot and ready. I'm going to go ahead and dump those in there in a 2-zone fire configuration, as these are rather large chunks of meat. I like to place a drip pan underneath with a little bit of water in it. This helps keep the meat moist and also keeps the mess out of the bottom of your grill. After about 5 minutes, the grill is hot and ready. I'll go ahead and throw some hickory wood chips in there, place my meat on, and close it up. After 30 minutes, you're going to want to go ahead and add you another handful of hickory wood chips there, as you typically get most of your smoke flavoring in the first hour of cooking. After that, really all you need to do is go ahead and try and maintain a temperature of 250 degrees on your grill, checking it about once an hour and adding about 8 coals on each side. Alright, so it's been about 3 hours now. Let's go ahead and take a look at this meat and see how it's looking here. Oh yeah, I'd say that's ready to pull off there. We'll get this off of the grill here and take it in the house and get it ready for phase 2. Looking good. Alright, our next step in the process here is going to be to go ahead and cube this meat up into 1-inch cubes. So we'll go ahead and get that started here. Just do a little guesstimate on the inches here. That looks like about 1 inch to me. Boy, that meat is looking good there. It already smells good, that's for sure. Slide these together here. Let's take a look at that meat. Oh yeah. Nice and juicy still. So I'll go ahead and get this cubed up. Trim all the little extra fat off I can find. And we'll move on to the next step. Alright, now that the meat has been cubed up, we'll go ahead and add a few pads of butter in there. Butter always makes everything better. Next we'll move on to our sauce. I'm going to go with a Carolina sauce on this one. We'll go ahead and cover all that meat in sauce here. There we go, that looks good and covered. And we'll go ahead and add in a can of beef broth here to give it a little liquid. And you know what, just for good measure, why not a little bit of hot sauce while we're at it. Add a little heat. That ought to be good. Go ahead and get that all mixed up and coated here. Smells good. Now I'm going to go ahead and tightly wrap it in foil. And then we're going to put it back on the grill for another 3 hours.
Want to make sure it's good and tight. You don't want to let none of that moisture out of there. All right, let's get this back on the grill. Wait another 3 hours and we'll see how it turns out.
Now that the meat's been cut up, sauced up, placed in the pan, and covered with foil, we'll go ahead and return it to the grill. It's going to sit on there for another 3 hours. So the same rule as earlier applies. We'll have to keep coming out about once an hour, adding some coals to the fire, and in about 3 hours it should be nice and tender and ready to eat. Alright, the final 3 hours have passed. It's time for the moment of truth. Let's see what this looks like if I don't burn my fingers off here. Be careful with that hot steam. Whew. Toast. Set that off to the side and use it to cover it back up while it rests inside. Let's see how she looks. Oh yeah. That looks good right there. It's just falling apart. Can't wait to try that out. Alright, well here we are. That's what I've been waiting for all day long. It's had time to rest here after being pulled off the grill. Go ahead and check out this meat. Oh yeah. Give that a little stirring up here. Make sure we get all those juices mixed in. Man, that smells good. Oh yeah, nice and tender. Just the way I like it. I think this is going to be good, everybody. I think this was a good venture today, so we'll get this out on some plates and we'll see what the family thinks about it. Appreciate y'all joining me today, and feel free to leave any comments or suggestions. Till next time.